The Apotheosis Archive presents Apotheosis, Aedificatoris and Absentia, Round 6, dated to 27 June, 2013. Nano, Epithus. My first action of the week is to start making the occasional fire stag flutter around, as messengers. I then proceed to do weekly mass, as I've decided it's when I'll give out my messages, teachings, food and healing, that sort of thing. Everyone gathers, and then I start. Epithus goes around doing healing, as normal. After the food, pattern-making fire stags, and spiders form, I swirly fire into human form. Greetings! I have heard that you debate the matter on Epithus' claim to the throne, and so I shall tell you what I plan. The throne of a king or queen may be made of the most precious gems or the finest gold, but it is still only a glorified seat. They may say they rule the land, but all they do is listen to plans and tell others to do it. That job is important, but a throne is not necessary to be a true ruler. Pelagia may keep her throne. She may do her taxes and building projects, for those are matters of the mortal coil. No. I say that my son and prophet shall be Calorector. He shall rule the people instead of what they own. He shall know his people, and they shall know him. We shall guide those who call themselves royal, as keeping them completely separate would cause chaos and confusion and break community. But they shall do their tasks separately from matters of the divine coil. However, if she denies me and attempts to grant us the edge of her army's sword instead of its hilt, I shall replace her with someone better suited for the task. It is my plan to tell her of her chance for forgiveness, and if she accepts, I shall give her my blessing. However, she angered me once already, and so this shall be her only chance. There's a slight flicker of an image of a massive centipede of molten rock behind me, and the aura of my illusion darkens for a moment, before it returns to the aura of comfort and vitality that it was before. That done, I continue with daily things. I tell my people, some may have noticed that I have sent fire stags, the carriers of my will, around the area. These are my messengers, and if you tell them your prayers, they shall carry your messages to me. I also plan a way to cease the hunger of my people. Gather seeds of apple, pear, and vine. With this, and with the correct knowledge, we shall be able to create a fine wine and cider. The fruits of labor shall grant us the money we require, and we shall eventually leave poverty. If you wish for anything in particular, and it's something you want instead of need, gather sweet foods such as fruit or honey, or create a sculpture of art of which you wish for. The focus you will have put into gathering the material will make your prayers and spirit far stronger, and I shall give you my blessing. If you are unable to gather this, do a kind deed in my name, and I shall give you my blessing, for in kind deeds you know the entirety of humanity's web. Weekly announcements and plans done, I disappear into a swirl of fire, as per usual. That done, I wait until nightfall, using the meantime to use my illusion to slightly influence people. I use this to help answer the prayers of those who need me, and those who either did their kind deed or gave me food or art. These illusions are things such as making a beggar's begging more convincing to their audience, or guiding a follower to a coin that has been left on the floor, or making them spot a better deal. As Queen Pelagia falls asleep, I enter her dreams. A flaming stag beetle appears before her with 5 scarabs around it. Greetings! I am Epithus, god of fire and life. I tell you this, cease your hunting for the boy who is the mortal son of your husband and the spiritual son of myself. He is under my protection. You may have heard, however, that I have come to you for the purposes of diplomacy. Thus, I give you 3 options. The first option is to let me and my people be. I shall lead my people, and you shall lead your country, and we shall both only speak when necessary. The second option is to ask for forgiveness. As I say this, I flicker into the form of a fire-winged moth, with an aura of comfort. Forgiveness is one of the values of humanity, and I am not a hypocrite who refuses to follow his own teachings. If you come to my shrine with an offering, wearing plain clothes and leaving your guard somewhere else, I shall listen to you. If you truly mean your forgiveness, I shall heal you of that which has caused your anxiety. The third. I flicker into the form of a monstrous centipede of molten rock. The third is to defy me and face me with the edge of your soldiers' swords. If that is your decision, I shall show you that although I am a benevolent god, my wrath is unparalleled and my force is absolute. I shall return to hear your decision on the third day. Until then, I go back to a human form. My son and I shall continue our work. And with that, the fabric of the dream disintegrates, and she wakes up. Lomna, Eirene. A great lioness appears in the hills near Pella, much bigger and stronger than any other lion, with hide that cannot be pierced, wise and cunning. Eirene commands her followers, her beasts and trees, to ambush and kill the mercenaries, but spare the farmers if they do not fight back. She also commands that emissaries be sent to whoever rules Olynthus and Potidae, offering friendship, and one emissary be sent to Pella, offering peace. Archipithecus, Thoumm. I appear to the farmer as I did last. I tell him, when you take your crops and animals to market, tell all the buyers of Thoumm. Tell them what I told you, how their crops and animals will flourish. And tell them that all I ask for is the burnt knuckle bones of their meals, and that they carve the butterfly above their door and hearth. If they do as I say, they'll become as prosperous and thrive. And if they do not, I shall scorch their lands with drought and drown them with flood. If beggars come to your door, do not turn them away, but welcome them. Give them a good meal. Tell them, Thoumm's luck be with you. He will guide you. Thoumm values the poorest beggar, and the well-off farmer, and the richest king all the same. And to the man who turns you away, well, he will regret it. And remember, if you are with luck, you are in my favor. If not, and Thoumm disappears into a swirl of butterflies. Merchan. Merchan helps the captain through the storm by restoring his focus and making his voice clear. As the captain, Epithus, shouts out orders, all crew members hear him clearly through the storm. With the captain giving orders and the crew hearing it easily, the ship works like clockwork. They manage to go through the storm easily and unscathed. Merchan then tells the captain that he must go to Apotheosis and Herodes, the merchants who sold him the bracelet, and work with them. If he forms a partnership with them, then he will continue to have Merchan's blessing. Also, he should tell his crew of how Merchan helped get them through the storm. Merchan also tells Apotheosis and Herodes that, despite the bracelets appearing to fail, they were actually a great success. The captain will soon be joining their business, and together they'll be unrivaled in the business world. Vespitome, Valtariberg. The teacher erupts from his stronghold furiously, Valtariberg's will flowing through him. He has become a host to his god. Anger spills from his eyes as he alone confronts those who try and break through the stronghold, and he speaks to them as if his words were thunder and deadly nightshade. How dare you! You are in my domain, and yet you have come here not to worship me, but to instead seek vengeance? I spoke to you of my plans. I sent you visions, and yet none of you chose to heed my warnings. I give you one last chance to repent and serve me, or I will strike you down. For the lack of faith towards my tongue is a greater sin than murder. As the teacher stands there, as if to emphasize his will, visions of great flames and shadows stormily surround his body. Bexy, Perius. During a small outbreak of more or less lethal plague in one Thracian village, a teenager named Perius receives a vision. I show him a species of plant which locals viewed as a mere weed, which can, under particular conditions, easily heal sick people. I also give him information how to make cure from this plant. At the end of this vision, I tell him, I, Perius, chose you, Perius, to save your people from plague. Watcher, Orubashi. A thunderous and mighty voice shadows the city of Troy, appearing to emerge from a dark cloud that hovers over the fortress. Orubashi visits you. In 3 days, my followers shall come to your gates and ask entrance. You shall welcome them into your homes, and they shall welcome you equally into the family that is mine. But if you reject them, you shall be cast into the underworld, and your city shall be taken by force, as easily as a man swats a fly. Follow the word, for the word is the truth, and the truth is in mine family. Then, from far orbit above the skies, a burning monolith comes soaring in over the east. The red line it creates is visible above all of Anatolia. It comes crashing down into a plaza of Troy, though just before impact it slows, hurting no one. It is a black monolith, some 2 meters by half a meter, and covered in ever-changing runes, lighted like embers. This is the Holy Child. Those who attempt to destroy it shall be likewise destroyed among the shadows of night. And with that, the cloud dissipates in a quick rainstorm. In Phrygia, a few days before, a young girl of 13 receives a vision of a burning light falling into a great city, from which a form of shadows and embers, with a roughly humanoid face among it, rises and envelops her. When she wakes up, her dress is covered in blood. The lover of Orubashi has been chosen. If she decides to console to Thoumm about this, when the monolith soars over their skies, he shall tell the followers to pack up and head to Troy to translate the monolith. If she does not, he shall still order them to head towards the light, but he shall not know exactly where it is, and will have to interrogate the locals about the location of the fallen star. And if they find it, it will take a while to find the lover. And of course, the Trojans have to let them in the first place. Dial for the Devil. Round 6 responses. Watcher, Orubashi. Follower count 250,000. The city of Troy opens its gates to your followers and prepares the coming of their new god. Thousands of people shave their heads and burn their hair, while the city's priests are dragged into the streets and butchered in front of the monolith. The Trojans daub the monolith in the blood of the priests and priestesses, in the hopes that the savage hill tribes will not decimate their entire city. The young girl, on the other hand, is beaten to death by her drunken father, as he believes her to have been spoiled due to the blood on her garments. The hills of Phrygia run red with blood, as the old gods are torn down to herald the coming of the one true god, lawmaker and daemon of the east, Orubashi. New miracle. You can now birth an afterlife for your followers. Lamna, Eirene. Follower count 15,000. Your followers swarm out of the forest and slaughter the mercenaries. They stood little chance as the forest enveloped them. Then they proceed to bury the corpses of the mercenaries under the trees so that they may entrap the souls of the sinful men inside them. Thus the Dryads are born, human-like tree creatures which are the most loyal servants of Eirene and guardians of the forest. Other mercenaries who survived turn to madness and run back into the civilized world, continuing their animalistic desires. Rumor has it that Eirene cursed them as satyrs, horrific caprine abominations who run from village to village, causing havoc in a drunken stupor. The last of the creatures born in the aftermath of the battle are the nymphs, human followers of Eirene who are so in touch with nature and at peace that they live for thousands of years and are perfectly beautiful. Meanwhile, the city of Pella is largely abandoned, with most of the young people having joined the worship of Eirene. The forest itself seems to have enveloped the city. The surrounding areas as well are covered by the Golden Glades. Olynthus and Potidae immediately begin giving peace offerings to Eirene and beg for mercy. They ask that if they offer young men and women to Eirene as servants, that she will protect them. New miracle. There's been a new spawning of Fae races. These are beings which are directly connected to a god and are direct servants to you. While the nymphs and dryads directly serve you, the satyrs are a loose cannon, although you can still muster them into a terrifying force if need be. As well, your sacred forests are expanding in all directions, dramatically encompassing much of Macedonia. Nano, Epithus. Follower count 4,000. More and more people begin to follow Epithus as the food begins to flow through the city. Your followers bring mirth wherever they go, and the name of Epithus is sung with joy across the taverns. This lasts until the body of Queen Pelagia is found. A self-inflicted circumstance. The city plunges into civil war as many different claimants break out with varying degrees of support. Your followers cry for the boy Apotheosis to be placed on the throne, and many soldiers seem keen on joining the cause. Indeed, many of them brand themselves with your sigil. Thoumm, Valtariberg. Follower count 170. The majority of the crowd laughs. However, in the sweltering heat, one of the older men falls down with a heart attack. While the majority continues its riot, a fair number flee in terror, believing that Valtariberg will smite them down. New miracle. The teacher can burn those who speak badly of him. Jere, Merchan. Follower count 120. Word begins spreading around taverns across the Aegean of the guide Merchan, who offers safety to ships. Many sea captains begin wearing the bracelet for protection, and Aedificatoris asks Merchan what he looks like so he can carve a god into the prow of his ship. New miracle. You can directly appear and speak to whoever is wearing the bracelet and give them premonitions. Bexy, Perius. Follower count 15. The people, rather than believing that it was the weed which healed them, they believe that Perius himself healed them by simply sharing food with them. Perius is immediately propelled to local legend, and the sick trail him across the village. New miracle. Perius can heal with his touch. Archipithecus, Thoumm. Follower count 4. The farmer disregards your teachings of sharing, but continues to plant the sheep knuckles in the ground. He desires for his family to be looked after before the others, since the harvest still isn't bountiful enough yet, and there are lots of beggars.